Goeiemôre, baie dankie vir die voorreg om met julle te kan gesels by vandag se Oeverberg Agri Voortplanting Inligtingsdag, donderdag 24 Maart. My naam is Henning Grobler, ek is 'n weervoorspeller in Kaapstad Weerkantoor by die Suid-Afrikaanse Weerdiens en vandag gaan ons gesels oor die seisonale voorspelling vir die begin tot die middel van ons reënvalseisoen wat om die draai is. In this presentation, we're going to have a look at the following. We will go back to our previous seasons just to give a quick recall what happened in our 2019-2020 season. We will compare that rainfall against the normal rainfall. We will also go back to last year's seasonal forecast and evaluate that against what occurred. Then we will have a look at our short-term rainfall outlook for the next 2 weeks. We're going to have a look at our seasonal rainfall outlook as well as the conclusion. Our seasonal rainfall figures for the season of 2019 and 2020. This is our rainfall map for season 2019-2020, and as we can clearly see that well below normal rainfall occurred over most part of our whole area. That includes the Northern Cape as also the Western Cape. Close to normal rainfall occurred in the southern part of the Western Cape for that period, where only a little bit of rain occurred. This was our third consecutive year in a row with the drought, and are fairly concerned with what the future is holding up for us. This is our previous season's percentage of normal rainfall map and distribution, and clearly indicated on this map that quite a different map than the previous season, and most part of the winter rainfall region received close to or just above normal rainfall figures. A fair amount of places received above our normal rainfall, with places experienced about 200% more than normal. A little bit of concern are a few areas where there still almost no rain occurred over the most of our central and Little Karoo and part of the Namakwaland area. However, at this stage things are looking fairly promising, that things are starting to turn around. This is the rainfall map for 2020 up to 2021, and right away in the summer rainfall region we can see a fair amount of rain has occurred over the whole of the summer rainfall region, with most places received between 300 and 500 millimeters, and there were some spots and places that received above 500 millimeters. And it won't surprise me if this summer rainfall region will receive well above normal rainfall for this 2020-2021 year. Back to our rainfall region, which is part of our Northern and Western Cape, and for our previous season it seems like a fair amount of rain has also occurred, although still fairly dry. Over the Northern Cape they also received a little bit of rain. Then for the Western Cape, quite an improvement of the last couple of years, with average rain between 200 to 300 millimeters in most places. Even a few spots that received about 300 to 500 millimeters, and then the one or two odd spots that received above 500 millimeters, but that's mainly in places over the high-lying areas. Well, after looking back at last year's rainfall, I think it will be a good idea if we can go back and look at what the seasonal outlook was for last season. We can do this to evaluate the model's accuracy against what the model forecast and what it actually occurred. This was our seasonal outlook for last year, March, April and May, and clearly indicated by the model a slow start to the season. Still dry conditions will persist over the Northern Cape, and then a very small possibility for above normal rainfall for the Western Cape, southwestern parts. However, if we remember correctly, it was indeed a very slow start to our season. We hardly received any rainfall, and our first rainfall systems only came through by April-May time period. For the time period of April, May, June 2020, it's clearly indicated by the model that the model increased its area for above normal rainfall over the Western Cape, and things have started looking fairly promising that we will receive above normal rainfall for the middle of our season. However, unfortunately, still some drier conditions expected over the Northern Cape area, but things are looking fairly decent for the Western Cape area. Now we're looking towards May, June and July's forecast for 2020, and once again the models favor this Western Cape for above normal rainfall for the period, which was a good sign at that stage, and things were still looking fairly promising. And what is even more promising is that the model is consistent in keeping that area above normal rainfall. A little bit of a worry over the Northern Cape and most part of the Eastern Cape, where still some dry conditions was expected and hardly rain had occurred at that time over those areas, but still that favorable area for the Western Cape for above normal rainfall for the time period towards our mid and end of our season. And then if we moved on to our last slide for the seasonal outlook, June, July and August for 2020, the model persists with that above normal rainfall over the Western Cape, although the area has become smaller, but the model are still indicating and are still positive for above normal rainfall. A bigger concern was still over the Northern Cape, where a below normal rainfall was expected to continue. And if we're going to look at our rainfall figures, indeed it was we received quite a bit of rain towards the end of our season. Now let's look at our rainfall distribution and percentage of rainfall for last season and compare that then with our model output from last year. Well, it's a slow start to the season with hardly any rain for the month of April, and that continued into the month of May, where almost no rainfall occurred. Then suddenly everything came together from June, and immediately as that cold front setting into Cape Town, a fair amount of rainfall starting to occur over most part of our forecast region for the winter, and above normal rain in most areas for June. That continued into July, with the area extend more eastwards, and still above normal rainfall occurred over most places for July. And luckily for us, then even in August towards our end of our season, that trend continued with above normal rainfall over most part of our region. And if we start looking to look back now on our model forecast and our seasonal outlook for last year, it seems like the model evaluate very, very well, and we can have confidence to looking forward to the outlook for this coming season. Now let's look at our short-term rainfall outlook for the next 2 weeks. Our weekly rainfall forecast until the 27th of February. No rain is forecast for the whole of the winter rainfall region, and that's just the indication that cold fronts are still a little bit far south, and the impact is very little over the rainfall region, and no rain is expected for this coming week. This is our rainfall outlook up till the 6th of March. Still no rain expected over the winter rainfall region, with most of that cold fronts just slipping south of the country, and a little bit of light rain expected along the south coast, but that's going to be only a couple of drops. It may have no impact at this stage. Not uncommon for this time of the year, with that cold front just slipping south of the country. And a little bit more promising is this well-developed cold front situated to the west of South Africa, and maybe that can set in and bring us our first decent rainfall for this coming autumn season. And now for the part that everybody looks forward to, and this is our seasonal outlook for autumn and winter 2021. Our seasonal outlook for the start of our autumn season for February, March and April. At this stage, the model are fairly confident that we will receive above normal rainfall for the most part of our Western and Northern Cape, and a fairly promising start to our autumn season into winter, following by March, April and May, and even a stronger signal by the model that we will receive above normal rainfall for the period of March, April and May. Then towards the mid-season, and the model still giving us some positive signals that we received well above normal rainfall for that period of April, May and June. So it looks fairly good at this stage. The confidence for the models are there, and at this stage when we evaluate the model against last year, we should have a good start to the season and even received a little bit more rainfall than last year. Now this is our minimum expected temperatures for the seasonal up till June, and right from the word go it seems like our model is forecast below normal minimum temperatures for February, March and April, and that will continue right through to March, April and May, with that below normal minimums expected into April, May and June, where that will continue through. Now, this is a good indication of that cold front setting through, and when it clears up overnight, our minimum temperatures can cool down quite a bit with some cool air in circulation. Our expected maximum temperature output by the model for February right up to June, and right from the word go, very strong signals by the model that we can receive below normal maximum temperatures from February to April. That will continue from March until May with below normal maximum temperatures, and that will continue up till June when those expected maximum temperatures will be below the average. Now, this might be due to that cold fronts that's going to set in a little bit earlier along the Western Cape, bringing some more cloudy and rainy weather, and that will keep the sun out, and maybe for that reason the model indicates well below or below normal maximum temperatures from now up till June. Then our seasonal climate watch, a quick overview, and what is most important is that the multimodal rainfall forecast for early autumn indicates mostly above normal rainfall for most part of the country, with the exception of parts of the Limpopo and Eastern Cape that should expect below normal rainfall. Also above normal rainfall is expected widely in the mid to late autumn, with only the exception again in parts of the Eastern Cape by mid-autumn. Then the summary and the highlights of this presentation. I think the most important part is that all over it looks like there's going to be above normal rainfall for most part of the country, especially over the summer rainfall regions and in the winter rainfall regions. However, it seems like a little bit less rain are expected over the Limpopo areas as well as over the Eastern Cape. Then, very important, farmers, please take note of this. The forecast is updated monthly, and users are advised to monitor and update forecast, as there is a possibility for especially the longer lead time forecast to change. Additionally, farmers are advised to keep monitoring the weekly and monthly forecast issued by the South African Weather Service. Farmers are also advised to keep monitoring and advisories from the Department of Agriculture and to make changes as required.